Good evening, everyone. This is Vibha Nasheen, and I'm doing a reading from the book Messages from the Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss, Chapter 6, Part 2. Remembering the key to happiness in this life. To be in physical state is abnormal. When you are in spiritual state, that is natural to you. When we are sent back, it's like being sent back to something we do not know. It will take us longer. In the spirit world, you have to wait, and then you are renewed. There is a state of renewal. It's a dimension like the other dimensions. We are all spirits. Some are in physical state, and others are in a period of renewal. And others are guardians. But we all go there. We have been guardians too. To remember that we are souls, that we are immortal and always exist in a vast sea of energy is the key to joy and happiness. In this energetic sea, a host of helping spirits nudge us along our destiny's pathway, our evolutionary journey toward God consciousness. We are not in competition with any other soul. We have our path and they have theirs. There is no race, only a cooperative group journey towards the light of awareness. Souls who are more progressed or evolved reach back with love and compassion to help those behind. The last soul to complete its journey is worth no less than the first. One particular problem in this school we call the earth is that on earth it is so difficult to remember that we are souls and not just physical bodies. We are constantly distracted by the illusions and delusions of this three-dimensional planet. We are taught that money, power, prestige, material possessions, and other tangible accumulations and creature comforts are extremely important and sometimes even the purpose of our lives. We are taught that we must be liked or respected by others in order to be happy. Being alone, we are told, is being miserable. In truth, we are immortal beings who never die and are never energetically separated from those we love. We have eternal soulmates and soul families. We are forever guided and loved by guardian spirits. We are never alone. We do not take our things with us when we die. We take our deeds and actions, the fruits of our heart's wisdom. When we reawaken to the knowledge that we are all spiritual beings, then our values shift and we can finally become happy and peaceful. What is the difference in this life if you were healthy and I am not? Only the treasures of spirit can be retained. What is the difference if you are powerful or famous and I am not? Happiness has no roots in power or fame, only in love. What is the difference if you are more liked and respected by others than I am? Perhaps I am daring to tell and to live the truth, and the truth is rarely popular. Happiness comes from within, not from without, not from the reflection of what others think of you. Jealousy is poison to the soul. So, our goal is to remember, to reawaken. Perhaps one story or one paragraph in this book might stimulate your memories, stir you to awaken, raise your consciousness. To paraphrase Clint Eastwood's most famous movie line that would make my day. Perhaps one reason that more people do not have spontaneous memories of their past lives is because learning in the physical body is a field test. We must ensure that our spiritual gains and knowledge are ingrained in our very essence. If we are non violent only because the memory of a brutal past lifetime makes us fear future consequences of similar behavior, we have not completely learned our lesson. We have learned our lesson if we practice non-violence because we know in our hearts that violence itself is wrong. I do not believe, however, that we are not meant to have access to these memories. Through hypnosis, recall is much easier. Lessons are remembered from a higher perspective. Symptoms are relieved, and spiritual understanding can be dramatically accelerated. Nancy's experience demonstrates this process. Nancy was casually dressed in beige shorts and a white t shirt. Everyone in my 3-day workshop at Omega Institute, a holistic center in Rhinebeck, New York, had spent the weekend in the beautiful Catskill foothills, and we all felt very relaxed. Group regression sessions had added to the tranquil mood. Along with 4 others, Nancy had volunteered to be regressed in front of the large group. I chose her because I sensed she could benefit from an individual regression, where I could ask questions and guide the process more specifically. I could not get the individual feedback in large group exercises. Because she was a volunteer and not a patient, the regression was designed to be a demonstration of technique, not a therapy session. However, once a person enters into this deeply relaxed and yet actively focused state of consciousness, healing often occurs. The subconscious mind doesn't care about my intentions as long as it is safe and protected. For Nancy, there was healing opportunity, a learning situation, and a golden opportunity was not to be missed. We talked in private for a few moments and I described the procedure we would be using. I had decided to use a rapid induction technique. With this method, I could bring Nancy into a deep hypnotic state in less than 20 seconds. Okay, Nancy, just like we talked about putting your right hand into mine, keep your eyes on my eyes, then it's just following the direction. Is that okay? She quickly agreed. Good. In a moment, I'm going to count to 3. When I reach 3, press down firmly with your hand. You will feel my hand pressing up. You should be keeping your eyes on mine and following the directions. 1, 2, 3. Eyes getting heavy, droopy, drowsy, closing, sleepy. Let them close, closing, sleep. I quickly pulled my hand from under hers and she fell immediately into a deep trance. I then brought her even deeper with several deepening techniques and asked her what she was experiencing. After a few moments of silence, she began to speak. My first Holy Communion. We are in a car and my grandfather is taking us to get ice cream. It's my special day. Everybody's paying attention to me and I'm really excited. She smiled radiantly. And how old are you? 6, she answered without hesitation. Can you see what you're wearing? White dress. I have my white dress and my white anklets with lace on the trim. I'm pretty and I'm excited and everybody's telling me how pretty I am. And this is a happy time for you. Yes. Can you see the other people who are with you? Yes. My grandfather, my mother, my sister, and my brother. How do they look to you? They look. We are driving and we are in a car. They are in the car with me. Naturally, in the car, my brother and my sister in the back seat with me. They are younger. They are, I don't know how old they are. This is a happy memory for you. Is that what you're feeling? Happy? I asked this because I could see some tears forming in the corners of her eyes. Yes. Those tears that are in your eyes are the happy tears or sad ones? I'm excited. Now that I knew the memory was a happy one, I decided to summarize and to move farther back in time. That's a wonderful memory. And you know everything that happens after that? A good memory. You are in the white dress looking beautiful. Everybody's paying attention to you. I want you to take back with you, even after you're awake, this happy, happy memory with the good feelings and also the feelings of loving yourself. Self love. Because it's not just a one day or one special day. You can love yourself every day. Every day can be that special day for you. Remembering the happy feelings of that time and bringing them into the present time so that you are happy now. You're bringing these happy feelings of the little girl with the white dress and the communion and the family and all the attention and affection and the love that's there from the family. You will be able to bring all of that back with you. Is that okay? She nodded as she soaked in the lessons of love. Are you ready to go farther backward? She nodded again. Float above now. Float above the scene and let it begin to fade away. You will bring back all the happy memories and the self love. But let the scene fade away. Let the scene fade away. You're now just floating, so free and so peaceful, so calm. Let's go back before you were born in utero in your mother's womb. Is that okay? Again, she agreed. Let's just see what comes to you from this time, if anything. I'll tap you on the forehead and count backwards again from 5 to 1. Go back before you were born in utero in your mother's womb and just see if you have any feelings, perceptions, impressions, thoughts, or sensations from this time. After a few moments, she began. I feel love. My mother has back pain. I sense that she presses on her back. And you're wanted. You feel the love that's already to greet you. Yes, lots of stuff going on now. Busy, busy, busy. I guess getting ready. They are getting ready. What are they doing? They are painting and they are getting moving people. And you're aware of all this? I asked, impressed by how many details she had already perceived. Yes, but they are excited. It's a good activity. Why are there tears? I observed that her tears had reappeared. I don't know. I'm happy. Another memory for you to bring forward, that of being wanted, the excitement. Because the preparation is normal. Painting, getting the room ready. Getting ready for you to make your arrival. You are a wanted baby. They are looking forward to it. There's a lot of love there. You can feel it as you float. And that's very important. Now let's go through the birth so that the birth is just finished. As I count to 3, be through with it. No pain, no discomfort, and see how you are greeted and how the people felt. What was the reception like? 1, 2, 3. Good. Now you're born and you're fine. What do you become aware of now? It's cold, she answered, and she began to shiver. My mother is not awake. She's not there. She doesn't know that I'm there. It's just indifference. It's just another baby. The doctors and the nurses are just doing what they have to do. I thought that her mother must have been unconscious because of the general anesthesia. The doctors and nurses were doing their jobs, but Nancy was already aware that they did their work without much emotion. Not the love that your mother has for you. Yeah, I guess. Do they wrap you in something to help you keep warmer? I can't tell. Her shivering and chills were becoming more severe, so I decided to take her away from the delivery room. Now we are going to float above and leave that scene, and you will warm up again. Warm yourself up, floating above, let the scene fade away and disappear. Now you're warm, you're comfortable, just floating again. Are you ready to go farther back now? Yes. Good. So let's just take one more trip, one more stop, and let's go back even farther. If there is any past life for you to remember, you will be able to remember that now, as I tap on your forehead and count backwards from 5 to 1. Let a scene or image of a past life come into focus and pay attention to any details. As I reach 1, it will be in complete focus. You will be able to stay in a deep, deep state, continuing to experience and to tell me what you are experiencing, a past life scene, or whatever comes to you. What is important for you? You'll be able to remember as I count to 1. 5, you can remember everything. 4, something from a past life. 3, let it come into focus now. 2, 1, good. Just be there with it. You can pay attention to clothes or other details, the architecture, houses, topography, or geography, yourself, or there are other people around. Whatever you become aware of is fine. You will be able to talk and still stay in a deep state, continuing to experience. You will be able to tell me what you became aware of, what you experience. I'm in a village, she answered, her eyes fluttering under the lids. It's a center of the town, like a market. There's a lot of activity, lots of people, hollering above each other like an auction. And an auction, I'm passing by, I'm not part of this, I'm a man. I have a beard, it smells. There's lots of smells and odors. It's not clean, it's dirty. She continued to scan the scene, taking in many details. What does the marketplace look like? How are the people dressed? Is it open air? What kind of things they are selling? I was trying to get an approximate time period. It's open with tents. It's dry, it's dusty. Chickens and vegetables, but not a lot of vegetables. People, they're like peasants. It's like the back streets of something. Of a bigger city? I see a wall. There's a wall dividing this area from another area. I want to say Egypt, but it's not Egypt. It was Egypt. It is Egypt. I suspected an area of frequent invasions and conquest with shifting boundaries. And now let's go ahead in time to see what happens to the man. He's passing through, this man with the beard. What happens to him? Let's go into future to the next significant event in your life. This man's life as I tap on your forehead and count to 3. Go to the next significant event. 1, 2, 3. Just let it happen. Once again, you'll be able to experience and stay in a deep, deep state, and you'll be able to talk and to tell me what you are experiencing, of what you become aware, what's happening to you. A meeting. He's meeting with people. He's important. He knows. He tells people things that have happened in other places. Changes, changes. I don't know what the changes are. People don't want the changes. And how do you feel? How does he feel? He's anxious. He's not sure how they want to receive this. But it's important information. The changes need to be made. He knows he has to tell them. Cannot tell them. He was told he has to tell them. I'm going to tap on your forehead and see if you can get any more detail of what he has to tell them, what kind of changes. 3. Any details that come to you? 2, 1. I see a paper. I think it's a map. I can't get. She paused for a moment. I sense an army. A mass of people are going to be coming. Yes, I think they are taking over this land. I think they're coming in and telling them they have to move on or else they will be forced off. And if the people don't go, they are going to fight. And what is your role in this? Which side are you on? What are you accomplishing? I think I'm on the other side. I'm warning them. I'm almost a spy. They each think I'm helping them, but I'm trying to keep peace between them. That's a good thing to avoid war, that's important, but it's dangerous for you. I'm scared. I could see the anxiety etched on Nancy's face. Okay, let's go ahead in time again and see what happens to you. It's a very delicate and dangerous situation. You're scared. An army is coming, and you're kind of a forerunner to this to try to work it out peacefully so there is not a war because you don't know which way these people are going to go now. But let's go ahead and see what happens. 3, 2, let it all come to you. You can remember everything. 1, it's okay to remember. It's okay to remember what happens. What happens to the people and the land? I'm in the desert. I'm out of that area. I did what I was supposed to do. They started fighting amongst themselves. They wanted to believe me, and some didn't. Once I knew that they got my message, I left and I'm moving on. I don't know where I'm going. It's unknown. I'm just going in the desert and I'm alone. Are you older now? I'm not much older. She grew silent and we waited. Finally, I broke the silence. Let's go ahead now to the end of the life. A spy, scout, advanced messenger. Go ahead to the end of your life as I tap on your forehead again. The very last moments to see what happens. You can become aware of everything now. 5, you can remember it all. 4, the very last day. 3, of this man's life. 2, 1. Okay, you are at the very end now. What do you become aware of? I'm in a friend's house. I'm dying. I'm peaceful. Her face reflected this peace. Can you see your friend? I feel them. They are very good friends. It's a man and a wife. They have taken care of me for the last few days. I'm very old. So you survived the danger and you lived to an old age. Now it's time to go. So you can float out of that body now. Go through it. Just dying of old age. Floating above and feeling so free and light now and peaceful. Just floating and reviewing that life in your mind. The lessons, what did he learn? What were the lessons of that life, which was a complicated and important but difficult life? Very much living on the edge. What did you learn? What did he learn? I had to sacrifice. My happiness wasn't always important. I had a bigger core. I had to leave my family. to save others. A kind of duty that you had. Yes, it was worth it. It was good. I'm satisfied. It helped to bring peace, or at least to avoid wars in many circumstances, I added. Yes, I think I did. I never really know. Because you go on to the next place? Yes, I move, and I don't always hear back from that area again. Very good. In your mind, make the connections to your life now as Nancy. What can you bring from that life? With the discipline, the authority, the compassion, the sense of duty that he had to your life. See the connections and what you can learn from this. His strength. Just bring it into your own life now. You don't have to talk and tell me. This is for you privately. Bring this into Nancy's life. All these qualities that you need or can bring forward that you've had before. See the connections? Bring it into Nancy's life and into your life now. We waited. I sensed that she had accomplished the task I had set before her. Good. Are you ready to come back now? Yes. Okay, I'm going to awaken you in a few moments by pressing upwards on a point between your eyebrows on your forehead. When I press upwards, then you can open your eyes. You'll be awake and alert all the way back right here, remembering everything and in complete control of your body and your mind. I pressed upwards and she slowly opened her eyes, looking dazed. She had returned from a very deep state, a very long journey. Good. Welcome back. How did that feel to you? What was the experience like? I felt like I was watching something that I wasn't experiencing. Although I was experiencing it, it was very different. And kind of intense too? Very intense. I knew an importance was there, but I didn't understand the importance of things at the time. Until after I looked back and then I realized that everything worked the way it was supposed to. Good. On the way, you had a very good memory of childhood, the communion. Remember the white dress and the special feelings you had? You had siblings, so you didn't get that often. Number 5 of 7, she clarified. So you didn't always have attention paid to you. Right. Right, that was our day though. Right, I was queen for the day. She answered proudly, remembering her communion. Then we went back to your birth time in utero and being born. Again, you were aware of love, of being greeted, the preparations that were going on. So you were really wanted. Even though fifth, you were wanted, and that's important. Your parents were excited about you. And you felt the presence in the energy between the doctors and nurses who were just doing their jobs, and your parents were where there was love and waiting for you and getting ready for you and all the preparations. I felt very distant at that time, that they were not as connected to me or as excited about me there. It was another birth, and they had to take care of the mechanics. She was talking about the medical staff. Then the memory of the man with the beard in the desert, maybe Egypt or Asia Minor, that area. She had a far-away look in her eyes as she remembered even more. I saw him walking down a road with rolling hills, a long dirt road with fields on either side. He was alone. He was paving the way so that the armies wouldn't have to lose soldiers unnecessarily, trying to get them just to acquiesce rather than to fight. Nancy knew more. I really sensed that even though he lived his life solitarily, he wasn't alone. He never felt alone. Something connected him to this purpose, I think. And I wanted you to see the connections to you now, but not to talk about it because that's personal stuff. Do you mind if people ask you a question or two? She agreed. The audience had been spellbound, and it took a few moments before anyone ventured a question. When did this take place? Nancy thought for a moment before answering. From what I could sense of the dress, I don't know the time, but I sense of before Christ. But I don't know when. I didn't have a sense of the year. As Nancy answered this question, my mind began to wander back to Catherine, my first regression patient about whom Many Lives, Many Masters was written. Catherine had also mentioned a date as BC, before Christ. For years, critics have jumped on this as some sort of fatal contradiction. How could she know BC when the term BC was not a concept in that ancient time? They would exult. And here was Nancy doing the same thing. Of course, the answer is simple when you understand the process of hypnosis and age regression. In hypnosis, the person is the observer as well as the person being observed. In fact, many people in trance state watch the past as if they are observing a movie. Your conscious mind is always aware of and observing what you are experiencing while you are hypnotized. Despite the deep subconscious contact, your mind can comment, criticize, and censor. This is why people who may be hypnotized and actively involved in a childhood or past life sequence of memories are able to answer the therapist's questions, speak their current life language, know the geographical places they are seeing, and even know the year, which often flashes before their inner eyes or just appears in their minds. The hypnotized mind, always retaining an awareness and knowledge of the present, puts the childhood or past life memories into context. For example, if the year 1900 flashes and you find yourself in ancient garb building a pyramid in ancient Egypt, you know that the year is before Christ, even if you don't see those actual letters. People can remember events from the earliest days of their infancy, as we have seen, and yet still speak perfect English. Why? Because they are remembering. They don't actually become infants again and lose all of their physical and mental abilities. My attention was jolted back to Nancy and the audience. Another question was being asked. Does Nancy have any feeling as to why she particularly chose that life as opposed to any other life to experience now? Or did it just come to you? Nancy answered, I have no idea why that one came. I think in the last section, to talk about what I need to be doing in my life, I think that's probably a valuable lesson I need to know and I need to contemplate. So maybe that's what I really need to hear and understand about the solitude, I think. After a few more questions on technique, I ended the session. A few days later, Nancy wrote to me. Your work is making a difference in many people's lives. I personally have experienced an empowering growth since reading your books. I haven't even begun to absorb the experience of this weekend, although I understand the message I received and see it's important in this lifetime. I know it will have a dramatic impact on my life and the lives of those around me. Thank you for the freedom you have given to me to experience and acknowledge my own eternal soul. Nancy had captured the essence of her sacred journey. That brings me to the end of today's session. We'll continue with part 3 of chapter 6 tomorrow at around 7 pm. Till that time period, this is Vibhanashin signing off. Take care. Good night.